Yo, what is up? Today's try hard. We are going to be in the Kunze Panzer with Paul the Cuddle Bear from Skill 1 clan. Now, obviously, if you are in a Skill 1 clan, you got to have the goods. Now, this guy's a really good player, so let's watch him play. Now, the Kunze Panzer, of course, is a very new tank in the game, which is why today's video is a little bit kind of different, because I do want to let you guys watch the try hard skills of this guy, but I also want to talk a little bit about the tank so that you guys can benefit from the knowledge, or when it comes time for you to pick your reward tank, you will make a better informed decision. Now we are in Siegfried line, and our friend is on the south side. Now, in case you didn't know, Kunze Panzer is a siege mode tank, which means it's a bit like an STRV. You hit the X button to get into siege mode and you get better accuracy. Now it takes 2 seconds from the reticle. You can see it takes 2 seconds to switch from siege mode to normal mode, to travel mode, and travel mode back to siege mode. And when you turn the siege mode on, you can tell immediately you're in siege mode because the crosshairs are different. The crosshairs are more like the STRV crosshairs, and then when you are in travel mode, the crosshairs look like your regular crosshairs. Now he took one sneaky shot there on the enemy poking, and then he runs away. He knows better than to stick around in the same bush. That is a very popular bush. You can easily take damage in that bush if you stay in that bush too long. And what is he doing right now? He is using the travel mode, the mobility advantage of this tank, to flex across the map. Well, he's not actually flexing across the map. He's moved like 5 squares to the east of the map, and he is taking a look at if he can snipe. Yes, he can. Just the backside of the Tiger 2. He sneaks a shot there, and now he's going to see if he can advance forward. Now he needs to be a little bit careful here, because obviously on the 9-0 line there are going to be enemy tanks there. There could be enemy tanks on the hills, on the bushes, in between the buildings. So he does not want to overextend himself if he can avoid it, but he wants to see if he can get free damage on the Tiger 2. He missed that shot because he shot the upper plate of the Tiger 2, but here you go again, the side plate of the Tiger 2, no problem, easy pickings, and his teammates finish him off. And just like that, they are already 3 up. It looks really good for Paul the Cuddle Bear here, and he is advancing forward, but he is not doing it blindly. If you look closely on the 0 line, he's got a teammate that's already rushed up onto the 0 line and basically very close to the enemy base, which means this gives him enough space here to operate that he can push forward. But he is still, as you can see, he is looking at that projectile because he knows that projectile is still lurking around somewhere in that vicinity, so he's paying a little bit of attention there. If he can get a shot on that projectile, he will. That projectile unfortunately unloaded on the Super Pershing that was following up behind the Kunze Panzer. Now if you notice in this game, the Kunze Panzer has not used the siege mode yet. We are already 4 minutes into the game, still no use of that siege mode, and this is what I wanted to point out to you guys. A lot of people that try to play this tank with the siege mode will be at of a disadvantage, because when you are playing in the siege mode, you are significantly slower. Although your accuracy is better, but you are significantly slower, and your reload is 2 seconds slower than your when you're in standard mode. So in standard mode, you can reload as quick as 6 seconds if you have BIA, if you run food. But if you're not running BIA, if you're running BIA and food and you're in siege mode, you add another 2 seconds to it. closer to 9 seconds of reload, even though you get better accuracy. Now in terms of accuracy without siege mode, you are talking about 0.40 dispersion, which is not very good at all, but you can mitigate that dispersion if you have BIA, if you have food, you can get it down to about 0.36 dispersion. Now what's good about the gun handling of the Kunze Panzer is the moving dispersions. Now the moving dispersions are not published in you know, if you are in your garage, you can't find these hidden stats, the moving dispersion, the tank traverse dispersion, and the turret gun dispersion. These gun dispersions are very low for a medium tank. In the Kunze Panzer it is 0.14, which means shooting on the move, or while you're moving, or while you're coming to a stop, the dispersion penalties are fairly low for this tank. So as long as you are running BIA and you are running some food, you can get to the dispersion, the stock dispersion down on this tank, and the standard moving dispersion, which is already pretty low on this tank, is going to do the job and carry the gun handling for you. Now if you look at the reticle right now, he is in sniper mode, which means his accuracy now has come down to 0.28 dispersion. 0.28 dispersion is really good, but as soon as he fires one shot, he goes back into travel mode again. Why? Because the siege mode dispersion, the benefits of the accuracy is just not more important than the mobility advantage you have in the travel mode. In the travel mode, you are going to have better agility, you are going to have better forward and reverse speeds, and the gun handling isn't that bad after all. So you might as well stay in your travel mode most of the time and only use your siege mode when you absolutely need that pixel shot. And as far as he's doing right now, you see his team was leading early in the game. They got a little bit overconfident, pushed forward too aggressively. Those guys on the 09 line, they lost all their HP because the enemy teams supported the A-B line and supported that projectile and killed off his teammates that were pushing that 9-0 line. But what's happened right now is it is very close. They are only one tank apart, and instead of having a healthy lead, it has come down to a negative HP. If you look at the HP pool, you can see that even though they are 10 apiece, but they are down by 300 plus HP. Now they are one tank up, but it's only the Yak Tiger, the Kunze Panzer, the 257, the SU-130PM, and the Scorpion G. On the enemy teams, you still have a very strong T10, which is a heavy tank, one of the best heavy tanks in tier 9. You have the Bat Chat AP, in my opinion, one of the best medium tanks in the game. The Leopard PTA on the enemy team, still alive, also one of the more dangerous tanks in this game, and the UDES 16, which is doing most of the spotting in the middle of the map. Now, this is not a time for you to be a superhero and try to play aggressive. Kunze Panzer has got no armor at all, and he is down to a one shot with only 316 hit points left in his tank. The Kunze Panzer, basically in a nutshell, is basically a Leopard PTA with extra steps. That's basically it. It works like a Leopard PTA, it acts like a Leopard PTA, except it has this siege mode, which makes the gun a little bit more accurate and kills your reload time by 2 seconds. So in a nutshell, that's how I would describe the Kunze Panzer. If you are interested, or if you are looking to exchange your battle pass tokens to get one of these reward tanks, and you're thinking, should I get a Char Future 4 or an AE Phase 1, or should I save all 18 tokens and use it to get the Kunze Panzer? Now, I'm not saying the Kunze Panzer is a terrible tank, because it is not a terrible tank. In fact, it is a pretty good tank. It is as good as, almost as good as a PTA, although in my humble opinion, I think the PTA is going to be, I feel like the PTA is a hair better than the Kunze Panzer, and the only reason why I would say the Leopard PTA is just a tad better than the Kunze Panzer is because the Leopard PTA is less complicated to operate. You know, it does not have the siege mode, and I think without the siege mode, I think that makes the PTA better. Not to say the siege mode is a bad thing, but the siege mode gives you extra steps, makes you think extra hard, makes you use more of your internal RAM, you could say. You know, you have to use more RAM, you need to process more information, you need to constantly be asking yourself, is this a good time for me to activate my siege mode? Is this a good time? Would I have a significant gain if I use siege mode right now? And you notice that our friend Paul the Cuddle Bear here only used that siege mode that one time throughout this game, and this game is already 12-13 minutes long. So that's how useful that siege mode is. I think if you remove the siege mode on the Kunze Panzer, it wouldn't make a difference anyway. It would still be just as good without the siege mode, because just the way the tank that is designed, the way the stats fall, you don't really need to run the siege mode 90-95% of the time. This tank is just as good with or without the siege mode. Remember, when you use that siege mode, you are going to handicap yourself in terms of the mobility, and your reload time is going to be handicapped by about 2 seconds. So if you want to maintain your gun DPM, you want to maintain being able to keep your gun singing, keep your gun firing, maintaining that high damage per minute or DPM, you are better off not playing or not using that siege mode at all. And now our friend Paul the Cuddle Bear here already up to 6,042 damage. He's blocked a little bit of damage. In a Kunze Panzer, you don't naturally gonna block any kind of damage at all. Even if you blocked 1 or 2 shots because of a funky bounce, you can consider yourself fairly lucky. Also, he's done a bit of spotting, 521 spotting. What he's going to do right now is, because there is just a little over 2 minutes left on the clock, it is time to send it. You have to do something if you want to try and win this game, so that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to push up the zero line and see if he can catch any of the enemy teams with their pants down. Now basically, like I said, like I mentioned to you, the surviving enemy teams are the T10, Batchat AP, Leopard PTA. These 3 are really strong tanks in tier 9, so you can't be too careful when you are playing against these tanks. That's not to say the Kunze Panzer is not a good tank, but the object, or the Soviet heavy T10, is a legendary heavy tank. It is famous for a reason. That's because it is very durable. It is a very good tank. The Batchat AP as well is a very good auto-loading tank with 6 shells in the magazine. It is a pretty deadly tank. If it takes a hit and then finishes you off, it could easily do that. There is the Batchat AP, almost full HP, but it seems like he's lost connection and it looks like he's AFK, and our friend managed to get him on fire, and because of that he got like 850 damage out of that Batchat AP just by firing 1 shot and setting him on fire. Wow, that was really lucky, but he's left with 40 seconds to finish off 2 tanks, which is the Leopard PTA and the UDES. I would imagine the UDES, yes, the UDES is still out in the middle. He's still got a little bit of HP left. Do we have enough time to finish both the UDES 16 and the Leopard PTA. He is making a beeline towards that PTA to see if he can spot him out and finish him. He can't. He does not have a shot on that UDES, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but he's got a shot on that PTA and he finishes off that PTA with 5 on the clock. But unfortunately there is no time left to rush over to the UDES 16 and finish off that last shot. That is a little bit unfortunate, but that does not stop Paul the Cuddle Bear to get the ace tanker. 7,500 damage, 28 shots. He landed 24 out of the 28 shots and penned 20 shots, so that's how good this gun is. Remember, he only fired 1 shot in siege mode. The rest of his 28 shots 27 shots were fired with travel mode on instead of siege mode. Do you like this tank? Is this tank for you? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.